Hi everyone, my name is Cyrus and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something, and I had a different video planned for this week that I'm going to post next week, but something came up in the last couple of days that really got me thinking a lot, and I just kind of wanted to put it out here and talk about it a little bit. And anybody who's probably into video gaming news has probably seen this or heard about this, but in the last couple of days, PlayStation put out an announcement, I guess, that they are going to be discontinuing and stopping creation of physical games as of 2028. And that really saddened me and frustrated me a little bit to hear that. I've been a PlayStation fan my entire life. I've always had a PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when the PlayStation 5 came out and you had the option between either the physical version that had the disc drive or the digital version, and there was about, an $80 or $100 difference between the two, I happily paid the $100 extra to get the disc drive. Because to me, there was just no questions about what was the better option. The disc drive allowed me to bring all the games that I had from the PS4 over to the PS5, still play those games, and get PS5 games in disc version as well. And so there's no question, happy to pay that extra $100. Totally understood why some people only want a digital version, but for me, I've always thought that having the physical version of a game is just really, really important. I think there's a couple reasons that I believe that to be true. I think the first is that I just like having, I'm a collector, right? I love collecting things. I play trading card games, which is always, you always collect things a bunch. I always have loved that kind of thing. And so there's just no question in my mind as to what I would get. Having a physical version of a game, especially when it's a game that you really care about and you really like, being able to have that game on your shelf, being able to look at it, there's just no question to me that that is what I like to have. And so there's just no question that that is what I wanted to do. That's one reason. I think the second reason, or one of the other reasons, is that I really like being able to, when there's a game that I really like and I care a lot about, take that game and give it to a friend and say, hey, listen, you're gonna love this game. Give it a try. I think you're gonna absolutely love it. You can't do that with digital games. You can't pass on a digital game to a friend. As much as you would like to, you're just not able to. And so that to me is a big downside of digital media. And don't get me wrong, right? I'm saying all this stuff, and I have a lot of digital games, a lot of games on my PlayStation that I only own digitally for one reason or another, whether it's they were free at some point on the PlayStation Plus subscription or PlayStation Extra, whether it's there was a really good sale on a game digitally, and so I was able to pick it up that way. So I'm not out here, I'm not the kind of person that only buys games physically. But when there's a game that I really like, I want to be able to have the opportunity or the option to buy it physically, because like I said, that gives you the opportunity to then really own that game. Nothing can happen to that game. Anytime I want to, I can pop it into the PlayStation and play it, or lend it to somebody and say, hey, this game is something that I think you're really going to enjoy. Try this game out. So I really like that, and that's really sad to see that that might not be a possibility in the future. But the other thing that really frustrates me about this, or that I think is really uncool, is that the other nice thing about physical games is that you can either trade them in if you don't like the game anymore, or buy used games. If you're not I feel like going digital only is really going to do a disservice to the gaming industry in a lot of ways. One, it's going to really gatekeep it. I mean, gaming is already an expensive hobby. A PlayStation 5 costs upwards of $600 now, Canadian or something like that. And so you're already spending a lot of money on the console. And on top of that, now if you're wanting to get different games, it's just going to be really difficult to do that. It's nice when you can go to a game store and say, I'm just going to buy a couple used games, try something out, or if there's a bunch of games that you don't like and you're not playing anymore, go and trade them in. I've really managed now to carve out my physical collection into games that I really purely enjoy and I want to hold on to. And I love that. I love that I have this physical collection that I have that I can, again, play anytime that I want to play. And I think the thing that I don't like about this too is this is coming right on the heels of PlayStation effectively being forced to remove hundreds or thousands of movies off the PlayStation Store and out of people's libraries, movies that people have bought on the PlayStation Store because they've lost the licensing for those movies. Understandable they have to do that, right? If licensing issues are happening, I get why they have to do it, but it just further highlights the importance and the reason for that physical media. If you had bought whatever movie that is as a disc, no one can break into your house and take that disc and say, sorry, you don't have a license for that anymore. You can pop that disc into your DVD player, whatever you have, anytime you want, and watch that movie. Right now, as it stands, if you're buying it only digitally, that could happen. PlayStation could decide, yeah, this game, we're no longer supporting it anymore, and so even though you have it, you've purchased it, sorry, you can't get it anymore. It's off your PlayStation, you can't access it. So that's really frustrating that is now going to be an option, especially for small indie games or indie companies that want to be able to show their games and to have their games as an option in different ways. I really don't like that now all of a sudden that's going to be effectively out of the picture. And that could happen. The games could just disappear. They could just disappear and there's effectively nothing that we can do about it. But not only that, I was talking about used games. On the PlayStation Store, one thing that I really like about the digital offers on the PlayStation Store right now is that there's always tons of discounts. And that's a big reason that I've bought the digital games that I own. A big reason that I bought them digitally is because they've come on to some incredibly huge sale on the PlayStation Store, something like 75% off or something like that. And the fact is, I will almost never find that in the physical format. And so for a game that I'm not super keen on, I just want to try it out, okay, sure, I'll buy it on the digital format and do that. There's been times where I've bought a game digitally and I've liked it so much that I'm like, I need to own this game physically as well. And so I've gone on to buy the game physically afterwards. But if there is no opportunity or option for the physical media, it's basically going to allow PlayStation to fully dictate what the price of a game is. It doesn't matter if a game is 8-10 years old, it's still completely full price. Whereas you don't find that in regular game stores, right? If you go to an EB Games or a GameStop and you're looking for a game that's an older game, you're gonna find it at a relatively cheap price, whether it's because you're finding a used copy or just because they understand this is an old game. You're not gonna need to pay an arm and a leg for it at that point. Because let's be real now, game prices are skyrocketing, right? $90, $100 for a video game. Like I said, I love video games. It's not something that I'm opposed to paying for a game, but let's be real, it's really capping who is able to play these games. And when we're not even giving the option for now people to buy used games anymore, where they can get into the gaming hobby at a more affordable price tag, we're further capping the ability for people to get into this hobby. I don't know. It's just something that really shocked me. When I saw that news, it absolutely shocked me because I've been a PlayStation fan my whole life. I love PlayStation. I still have my PS2 with all the physical games that I own for it. And to think that now, all of a sudden, they've given us a good amount of heads up, I suppose, right? 2 years from now. But it's really now put in my mind, okay, I need to make sure I get all the physical games that I want to have in my library, in my collection, before 2028, I guess. Because once that happens, then what? I don't know. I've seen a bunch of discourse online going both ways. Some people saying, well, this is bound to happen, right? Digital is the way of the future. Some people saying this is crazy, it's killing video games, and people saying they're jumping off the PlayStation bandwagon, they're not gonna buy a PS6, all these different things. I don't know if I go to that extreme. I love gaming, I love PlayStation. Even if they just go digital, I will probably still buy a PS6 at some point, because I want to play the games that are on it and I want to try those out. But when I got the PS5 and I was able to take my PS4 games, play them on the PS5, I realized I don't need my PS4 anymore, so I gave it to my sister. And I was able to give her that opportunity to get into this hobby and play games. She was then able to borrow any of the games that I had on PS4 and just play them. And I got her into video games by doing that. She now has a PS5 that she decided to buy with her own money because she realized I like this so much. And if the PS6 is digital only, then I'm gonna have to keep my PS5, and I'm happy to do that. I love my PS5, but I'm gonna need to be able to play all these physical games that I own. There are games that I've kept with the express purpose of, if I decide to have kids one day, I would love to show them this game. Games like Spyro. I have the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I am so excited to eventually someday play that with a kid if I have a kid, or with my nephew or something like that. The Crash Insane trilogy. Again, so excited to be able to show that to future generations. And sure, you could do that digitally if you wanted to, but it's just not the same. It's not the same knowing that at any point, if somebody wanted to, they could just revoke that license and all of a sudden you can't play this game anymore for one reason or another. I don't know. It's really, honestly, thrown a bummer over these last couple of days for me. And I wish I could say that this is coming from a space where it's benefiting us as consumers, but it's not. Right? It's just not. The reality is that PlayStation, Sony are looking out for themselves. By going digitally, it removes the cost of having to print and create physical media. It's fully now just digital. Costs them almost nothing to have digital games. Yet they cost the same amount, right? Buying a physical disc, something that Nintendo did recently is they created the difference in prices for if you're buying a physical version of a game or a digital version of the game. That to me makes complete sense. I would happily pay an extra $10 for a physical version of a game that I really want and really enjoy, because I know that it costs a bit more to get that into the physical format, right? But they don't do that. PlayStation doesn't do that. It's always the same price whether you're buying physically or digitally. For that reason, if I'm buying a brand new game, I'm always gonna go for the physical version, because why not? It's the same price. I'd rather have the physical version that I can have, lend to a friend, do something like that. I don't know, PlayStation is really just, I think, shooting themselves in the foot here. Because, you know, it's been resurfacing now over the past little bit, the clip from a couple of years ago where they asked, how do you share a game on PlayStation 4? And they just passed the game to their friend, and that was it. And it's now been resurfacing and saying, like, that just means nothing anymore. This clip aged so poorly. And it did, right? It just did. It's really disappointing to see that PlayStation is taking, in my opinion, this step backwards. You know, they've been arguing and saying many, like 80, 90% of our clientele, of our customers are buying digital versions. That may be true. But many people are still buying physically. And even the people that are buying digitally are still buying physically as well. Like, I'm one of those people, right? I'm buying physical versions of some games, digital versions of other games. But it's just not for us, right? It does not benefit the consumer in any way. It's just putting more power into PlayStation and Sony's pockets to do whatever they want to do with their media, with their pricing, with everything. It means that they're going to control everything, and we're not going to have anything to do about it and no say. A lot of people have been saying, not only that, right, but like I said before, they have the digital licenses to that. You're basically renting a game when you're owning it online, even you're paying all this money to own the game, you're not going to own it. And that's true. That's kind of true of the disc version as well. You're basically just paying to rent or own that game, but you have the disc, and if all that information is on that disc, you can put it into any PlayStation and just play it. Whereas you can't do that with a digital version. You can't lend a digital version to your friend. Again, I think if they want to do it this way, they need to take some things out of Nintendo's book right? And Nintendo allows you to share games digitally with your friends for a certain period of time, not forever. But again, it allows you to do that. If they're going this route, some changes need to be made, some alterations to their plan needs to be made, because as it currently stands with what they've announced, I think PlayStation is taking 2 big steps backwards, and it just frankly looks greedy. It does not look like they have their player base in mind in any way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, it's not looking like anything's going to change. I'm really hopeful. I've been seeing, like I said, a whole bunch of discourse online, a bunch of people really upset, people trying to vote with their wallets. And so I'm hopeful that the loud outcry that has come up from this will show PlayStation that this is a mistake, that they shouldn't be doing this, and they should be offering, again, offer it as a premium price, right? Like I said, I gladly paid the extra $100 for the physical disc version, disc drive of the PS5. Do that. Offer it as a premium price. Don't make all your games into physicals, or create a physical and make it cost $15, $20 more, right? But completely eliminating them altogether, it's greedy. It's not fair to the players. And frankly, it just makes you look like you don't care about video game preservation. I don't know. It's really disappointing news to me as a lifelong PlayStation fan to hear this and to, I don't know. I often try and come at PlayStation's defense because I really love them and I love their games and I love their systems. And in the past, I've loved what they've stood for. I've loved how they've stood for different games and what they've done with their systems. And it's sad. It's sad to see this change seemingly out of nowhere come up, and all of a sudden, that's just it, right? They've basically just announced that's just it on physical media for the PlayStation. In 2 years' time, and in basically a year and a half time at this point, that's it. I don't know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts about this are in the comments down below. I have really mixed feelings, but mostly I'm really sad about this news. I think that it's very disappointing, and I hope that some changes are made to this so that more comes out over the coming days that allows us to understand more what their direction is. And then maybe this could be something that's reasonable. I still don't think so. Honestly, my hope is that it gets reversed. Like I said, that we see a premium price tag for 4 games that are physical and a physical PS6, but I'm not holding my breath for that. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this in the comments down below. It's something that's been on my mind a lot. It's all I've been thinking about over the past few days. And so I just figured I had to post this video today. I had to record this and post this because, yeah, it's just not okay. It's not okay, PlayStation. And myself and a bunch of people are not super happy. But like I said, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and happy to chat more about this. Anyways, until next time.